Hello and welcome to the 6th edition of News Central TV. I'm Neo Tagbe, coming to you live from our studios in Abuja. Our top stories. Appeal Court upholds death sentence of 5 convicts involved in the 2018 Offa bank robbery. Court nullifies PDP November 2025 National Convention held in Ibadan. South Africa expels Israeli diplomat amid strained bilateral relations. We'll bring you details in a moment. The Court of Appeal, Ilorin Judicial Division, has upheld the death sentence of 5 individuals convicted over the 2018 bank robbery in Offa, dismissing all grounds of appeal filed by the convicts as lacking merit. The convicts, Ayoade Akinibosun, Aziz Salaudeen, Ni Ogundiran, Ibikunle Ogunleye, and Adeola Abraham, were found guilty of illegal possession of firearms, armed robbery, and culpable homicide. The 6th suspect, Michael Adiku, a retired police officer, died in custody before the trial began. The offences were linked to a violent robbery that targeted 5 banks in Offa local government area in Kwara State, leaving at least 32 people dead, including 9 police officers, 2 of whom were women. Justice Haleemah Salman of the Kwara State High Court initially handed down the death sentences after a 6-year trial that drew nationwide attention. Troops of Operation Harding Kai have recorded fresh successes against terrorists in the northeast, according to the military. In a statement, the media information officer of the Operation Harding Kai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, said troops of Sector 1 carried out coordinated dawn attacks at Bula Dalo, neutralizing over 12 terrorists and recovering rifles, rocket-propelled grenades, and anti-aircraft weapons. He added that another operation at the Garno terrorist camp led to the killing of 6 more fighters and the destruction of key logistics. Lieutenant Colonel Umar also confirmed that Sector 2 troops repelled an ISWAP attack in Sabongeri involving armed drones, restoring full control after reinforcements arrived, though casualties were recorded among troops and civilian volunteers. He said clearance operations are ongoing to deny terrorists the freedom of action. Still on security, the Benue State Police Command has confirmed that 4 suspected bandits were killed during a security operation in Orokam, Ogbadibo, local government area. The incident occurred during a routine stop-and-search exercise conducted by operatives of the Operation Zenda Joint Task Force at a police checkpoint in the community. The police authority said the suspects were intercepted while traveling in the Black Gulf 3 vehicle and reportedly resisted arrest during the search. The situation escalated into a gun battle after some of the occupants opened fire on the operatives. The police responded, resulting in the deaths of 4 suspects, while another escaped into a nearby bush. Items recovered at the scene included an AK-47 rifle, ammunition, the vehicle, and suspected charms. Investigations and manhunt efforts are still ongoing. In the meantime, Vice President Kashim Shettima has arrived in Kaduna to commission the Tudumbiri Housing Scheme. The flagship project would provide permanent homes for those impacted by the tragic 2023 drone incident. The initiative, they say, is a key part of the resettlement scheme for persons impacted by the conflict. It fulfills President Tinubu's 2024 promise to restore dignity to displaced community members. By prioritizing rehabilitation and reintegration, the government aims to heal the trauma in Tudumbiri. The new housing signifies a commitment to permanent recovery for the affected victims. Our correspondent Emmanuel Bagudu joins us now to give us an update on the Vice President's visit to Kaduna. Hello, Emmanuel. Looks like...
Good evening, thank you. Can you hear me?
Oh, good. We can hear you, Emmanuel. Just let us know what's going on. I mean, the Vice President got into Kaduna today. What is the situation right now? Any update?
Yes. It's just a fulfillment of promises made 2 years ago. And of course, the people of Tudumbiri, of course, you remember News Central was in that community about 6 years ago. Go ahead and report the 2-year anniversary of that tragic drone attack that affected more than 100 people, with 82 persons confirmed dead, including infants. So, of course, those housing schemes as at the time the central arrived that community, sometimes in December, most of them affected were actually, managing with their family members and friends. Some of them to move into the city center to to manage with their friends and family. But right now, the vice president coming in to commission those housing schemes will mean that they will have to go back to own new houses, brand new houses, as a sort of compensation from that tragedy. I think it's more like going to be more like a healing period for the people of Chidinbiri, and also a huge relief for the citizens of Kaduna State. But of course, I would recall that the last time we met there, the community members are still talking about issues of financial inclusion, loss of livelihoods, and all that. So schools were built, houses were built. Of course, I guess the vice president will have to take the kind of message back to his principal, the president, on the issues of livelihoods and the issues of financial inclusion, because they are actually impoverished from what we gathered in January, sorry, 6 weeks ago when we visited the community. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bagadu, and thank you for your coverage. Well, the Federal High Court in Ibadan has nullified the People's Democratic Party's National Convention held on November the 15th, 2025. The court barred members of the Tanimu Turaki-led National Working Committee from presenting themselves as national officers of the PDP. It also recognized the Caretaker Committee led by Mohammed Abdul Rahman and Senator Samuel Ayawu as the only legitimate NWC of the party, pending a valid national convention. The ruling marks the latest development in the ongoing crisis rocking the PDP. Well, to discuss this further, I'm being joined by Barrister Mark Jacob, former National Legal Advisor of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Jacob. Mr. Jacob, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for.
Okay, fantastic. So this judgment today, some would say it's the end of the road for the party. For the Tamini Turaki-led leadership of the party?
Not at all, not at all. I think the headlines are not absolutely correct, because the subject that was before the court is the PDP or the Tanimu Turaki-led PDP that filed the suit, seeking a mandamus order compelling INEC and other parties to perform some duties. The issue of the convention was not the subject of the suit. So probably the headlines, the people that have reported need to be guided. Probably they should also get the certified copy of the judgment before writing the screaming headlines, because the issues before that court were clearly spelled out. In any case, this is the High Court. We still have the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court to determine whether such an order, if at all the order was made, will stand. So it's not absolute. Even if that order was made or that court said what they are saying, which I don't believe, that is not the end of the road, because that is just the High Court. We have the Court of Appeal to contend with, and we have the Supreme Court too.
I'll come back to you, Mr. Jacob, in a bit. We're being joined in the studio here by the PDP Caretaker National Publicity Secretary, Honorable Jungudo Mohammed. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so you've heard, Mr. Jacob, and I'm sure you've heard this conversation already from some other quarters, what the Tamini Turaki-led leadership of the PDP went to the court for was for an order of mandamus, not the convention. So this ruling on the convention, how does that come in? I know that you are very excited about this.
Certainly, every patriotic member of the PD would be excited with this development. Whether they are there for whatever reason, what we know is the offshoot of their suit before the Federal High Court in Ibadan is as a result of that illegal convention. And they went to the court, seeking the court to compel INEC to give recognition to that convention and to give recognition to the illegal people purportedly elected as members of the NWC. And the court rightfully gave out a judgment that is landmark, that is acceptable, and that is in tune with the reality, and that is in tune with the two judgments delivered by Justice Omotosho and Justice Lifu. What were they expecting? Were they expecting the Federal High Court to overturn the earlier decisions of the two Federal High Courts? I wonder who is advising them.
But I know that Mr. Jacob is there, and we'll still come back to Mr. Jacob. But what they went to court to ask for had nothing to do with the convention.
Who said it has nothing to do with the convention? They want the court to compel INEC to recognize them. Recognize them as what? Recognize their convention. Recognize the proceedings of that convention. So why are they dodging? They should stop, like I have always said, stop misleading loyal and faithful members of the PDP. The party has been suffocated for too long. You cannot build something on nothing and expect it to stand. Two, they have in the past, previously, petitioned the Chief Judge of Abuja. We don't believe you don't give cases to Justice Lifu, Abdul Malik, and Omotosho. They, on their own, selected and chose where they wanted to file a case. They went to Ibadan, instituted that case. They got exactly what they wanted. So what more?
Okay, but as we all know that's just the Federal High Court. There's still their court of appeal.
It is. They have right of appeal up to Supreme Court.
Let's bring in Mr. Jacob, and it's good that we have the two of you. Mr. Jacob, there in many people watching the political space in Nigeria, especially those who had experienced the PDP in leadership for 16 years or thereabout, would be wondering why you guys, you members of the party and leadership, cannot sit down in one place and put your house together. Why even go to the courts?
That is the question, actually. But you see, we have driven this car to a place where people will sit down in a house, somebody's house or somebody's compound, and constitute themselves into a caretaker committee. My friend that is sitting there, who elected him caretaker committee, PRO? Or publicity secretary? They sat down in Wike's house and nominated themselves and sold themselves in. Is that done in any political party? Nobody will accept that. Assuming even if the convention was wrongly done, the proper body that can nominate or appoint a caretaker committee is not Wike and his friends in his compound. They can't do it, and they know it. So nobody is even saying that this convention must be accepted. But if it is not accepted, the National Executive Committee of the party, the Board of Trustees, will sit down and take decisions. Not somebody convening a meeting of his friends in his compound, and then they take decisions and appoint a caretaker committee for us. In any case, what was before the court? The court said clearly that, look, I cannot sit on appeal over the judgments of my brothers. Now, if you decline jurisdiction, it's a principle of law. If you decline to deal with the substantive matter, any other thing you do or say is just a statement, because the facts or the relief sought before you were for mandamus. If you say you cannot grant mandamus because you cannot sit on appeal over the judgments of your brothers, which is a correct principle of law, you stop there. You don't go further into discussing or making comments on any other thing.
All right. So, Mr. Jacob, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If you don't mind, we'll need to go on a very quick break, but we'll come back and continue this conversation. Okay? Viewers, please stay with us. Welcome back. I still have Honorable Jungudo Mohammed, who is the Publicity Secretary of the PDP Caretaker Committee, and also virtually we have Barrister Mark Jacob, former National Legal Advisor of the PDP. Mr. Mohammed, before we get back to Mr. Jacob, he had talked about the matter of an order of mandamus that the PDP sought, and then the judge went ahead to speak on other matters after he had said he could not sit on appeal on a matter that was handled by his brothers in concurrent courts. Now, that's not what I'm going to. The same question I asked him, what's wrong with all of you sitting down to sort these, what you people call a family affair, and which the Supreme Court has said it's an internal business. Why can't you guys sit down and sort yourselves out?
You see, I don't know, before I answer your question, I don't want you to mislead our audience that what is happening in the PDP or the legal issues before the courts are purely internal affairs. It is not every issue that is before the court that is an internal affair of the party. That aside, as to the issue of why haven't we come together, let me remind our viewers that prior to all of these things, there was a reconciliation committee that was constituted by the neck of the party, headed by Wakil Alhaji Adamawa Hassan. A group of prominent, eminent personalities to wade and look and come up with recommendations that will bring peace to the party. These fine elder statements came with a recommendation that in the light of all the issues in the court, here and there, the best thing to do is suspend this convention, put in a caretaker committee. They reported back to the BOT. Unfortunately, because that didn't sit well with them, they threw away everything.
With the BOT.
It didn't sit well with them. When I said them, now you know I am talking about those that the court restrained from parading themselves. Adolphus Wabara, former Senate President, former chairman of the party, Damagun, and the rest, the Governors Forum, rejected outrightly the recommendations of that committee on the allegation that that committee was compromised. How could you have eminent personalities of this nature, of this caliber, that you will accuse them openly, flagrantly of compromise? How? It is so sad. So we know who are causing problems. We know who are suffocating the party.
Before we let you go, just a quick one. You said it's not everything that an internal party matter. What are the things before the court?
These particular matters that we are...
what are the matters in court?
They are not internal affairs. They are not internal party affairs. They are issues that, for instance, the case between Austin and two others versus INEC and Damagun and the rest, that was an issue that they instituted, praying the court to prevent INEC from giving recognition to anything that will come. So it is, and all the reliefs so granted by Justice Omotosho were reliefs directing INEC not to do this, not to do this, and not to do this. So it was technically and somehow issues between members of the PDP and the INEC. And you cannot violate your party's constitution and what have you, then say it is an internal party. Assuming you and I contested for primary elections, I won, they substitute my name. Don't I have right to approach the Federal High Court to seek redress? If I go, then somebody will tell me it's an internal affairs of the party. No, it is not done so. So it's not everything that is internal affairs of the party.
Okay, Mr. Jacobs, you want to react to that? The matter of...
Yes, I recognize that he's not a lawyer, so he would not be familiar with what the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal have defined as internal affairs. Internal affairs of a political party are all issues surrounding leadership, membership, and the general administration of the political party. They are internal. The courts have declared so that all those things, the issue of who is chairman or secretary or whatever, that these are not justiciable matters. They are not issues that anybody should present to court. Those are the current decisions that is the current position of the Supreme Court. So when people want to do a distinction that does not exist, we feel sorry. Because again, I understand he's not a lawyer and he has not read or studied what the courts and the Supreme Court particularly has said. Even last week, in the case of SDP, in the case of Labour Party, the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court have continuously said that the courts have enough work on their table. Let no one bring the issues of administering political parties to them. And these things are clear. There are issues surrounding the election of party officials, not nomination. The nomination is not part of it. Even when it is nomination, there is only a narrow window where you can bring the issue. But everything regarding membership of the political party, regarding the office holding, who is elected as chairman or secretary or anything at all, they are not justiciable and they are not supposed to be brought to court.
Okay, I understand.
That is the position.
Mr. Jacob, I understand that we have 10 seconds.
No, you are right.
Okay, I understand.
No,
we
you
have
are right.
We have 10 seconds each. So I don't know how we're going to do this. 10 seconds closing statement.
I am not sure he read 95 pages judgment delivered by Justice Omotosho. And the issue right before Justice Omotosho was not was not a leadership issue. And that of Sule Lamido as well was not a leadership issue.
Okay.
So that cannot be regarded as internal affairs
Mr.
of
Jacob,
the party.
10 seconds.
The Supreme Court is superior to Omotosho, please. The position, very simple. Once you are talking about leadership of the political party, you are straight into the bush. You can't take it to court. Settled.
It was all about that.
The Supreme Court.
Okay, we'll see how it goes. So thank you so much. We had the PDP Caretaker National Policy Secretary, Honorable Jungudu Mohammed. Also joining us virtually was Barrister Mark Jacob, former National Legal Advisor of the PDP. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in this evening.
Thank you for having me.
We wish you well.
Thank you.
Now, with about 21 days to the Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections, residents of Keida, Sabo, Paikon, Kore, and Alipi communities are calling for improved social amenities. They are urging whoever emerges as chairman of the Gwagwalada Area Council to prioritize development projects that will improve living conditions. Our correspondent Idong Joseph is in one of those communities and joins us live. Idong. Hello, Idong.
Yeah, good evening, Nyota.
Now, where exactly are you at the moment?
Okay, actually, I'm at Alipi, one of the three, because very early this morning, we started our tour around the Gwagwalada Area Council, and we visited three communities, just as you mentioned, and presently I am at Alipi. And if you can see, this is a community that is thick inside the bush. If you see around, you just get to see that before you see houses, the houses are just clustered in one area, and surrounding them are just bushes across here. And the challenges in this community is quite the same with Kaida, Sabo, where we went to before coming here, where the issue of basic social amenities is lacking in the community. Just like water, portable water system in that community, they have just only one borehole that supplies water to the whole community. And it's the same thing here in this community. They have only one borehole that supplies water for them. And this borehole, according to residents here, they say it was donated to them by some missionaries who came here to preach the gospel. And also in terms of education, in this community, they have only one block of classroom, and that block of classroom, according to residents here, it has only primary 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the other aspect of your educational life, you have to seek it in the nearby community. And the nearby community here, for you to get that, it's about 25 to 30 minutes out of here. So you can get that in kilometer. You know how students are going to walk out of here to get education for themselves. And also, they've made several demands and are calling for whoever is going to emerge in the February poll to address some of the challenges they are facing here. However, I have a member of the community here who I would like him to speak to us to most of the challenges which they have mentioned to us here. And so I'll just walk up to him and let's talk to him.
So, and then we have 3 classes of room that they are working now, and we lack of more water, and even the road, we don't have road that we are going to our children before they reach inside town. They quickly, some people fall for inside water and they don't know how they can do to escape. So even the solar, we don't have light. They actually give us the 3 solar, and it's only 2 that is working now. So that is our challengement that we have in this our community. Here, our community name is Alipi Community.
Okay, Nyota, you've heard from him. They need empowerment, they need good road, they need hospital, school, water, amongst other basic social amenities that you would think of. That is what this community needs.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Idong Joseph, our correspondent And we've been doing this for quite a while now, going to various communities in the FCT ahead of the area council polls coming up on the 21st of February. And what we've seen so far, it looks like there's a single thread going through all of the communities. But talking about communities and the things that they're going through, concerns are growing at the Orozo market located in the satellite community of the Federal Capital Territory, where unchecked waste accumulation is fast becoming a public health and economic crisis. Traders say the situation is affecting daily business activities, driving customers away and putting their livelihoods at risk. Our correspondent Aisha Saliu reports.
Behind me is the Orozo market, a thriving hub of commercial activities. But uncollected refuse pile up major walkways, emitting foul odor and, of course, affecting vehicular movement for both residents and traders.
For many here, the waste crisis is no longer just an environmental issue. It is a direct threat to survival.
This is a very, very big disgrace to a country of more than 200 million people. And the places like this is epidemic. I'm telling you, you staying here, even we passing, the smell alone.
The waste has become an eyesore, not just in Orozo, but from Yanya down to Karachi Express. It has become an eyesore such that we cannot pass there without holding your breath. And it's even becoming embarrassing because the waste are beginning to enter inside the road.
Small-scale businesses, many of which depend on daily sales, are bearing the brunt of the crisis.
Come and clear the waste bin here so that we can be able to sell our market or to come out in a good form. Because this thing, sometimes they will put lights, they will put fire, and this thing cannot burn down by fire. The smoke coming down from the fire, it's not giving us a good health.
Having this kind of situation is a violation to our right because we pay taxes. Different taxes, and even as at yesterday, an AMAC chairman passed through this place, was campaigning. I expected that, by this morning, something would have been done here. So you are campaigning for those people that are putting their life in danger. Is that not? I think Wike should step up. Abuja is his cause, not anywhere else. His body, soul, and spirit should be here. He should give us his attention, even if it is little about our health that he can give us and our security. That will be fine for us. But seeing something like this here, and the minister is not doing anything, is so bad.
So we would like to appeal to those who are in charge of it to it's not something they will do once, it's something they have to be doing on and on to keep the place clean and safe and healthy for the people.
Many here are calling on relevant authorities to intervene urgently, warning that continued neglect could lead to the collapse of businesses and the loss of livelihoods for those who depend on the market for survival. In Abuja, for News Central, Aisha Salihu.
Well, when 6th edition returns, Aishat would have returned, and she's, okay, you saw her there, and then she'll be joining us for a conversation. Just stay with us. Welcome back. As I said earlier, Aishat is back and now is in the studio. You saw her earlier, though. Aishat, talk to us. What's new? I mean, we've had this. This is not the first time we've gone to Orozo, but what's new about this one?
Well, I agree with you. This is not the first time we're covering poor waste management, especially in the FCT, especially in the satellite communities in the FCT. I'm talking about Karu, Kurudu, Orozo now. And we've been there for weeks upon weeks, and it still seems to be the same situation, the same issue. But many of the residents, they are more disappointed in this administration, saying that before now, they didn't used to have it this bad. Before now, these waste used to be evacuated on time and all of that. But now it now looks like it's been abandoned. And then there's also another issue of who's handling the contract to evacuate this. And then they're asking the satellite towns development department of the FCTA who's responsible for this, and why aren't they, heeding to the cry and the calls of the people. We can see that definitely it's affecting their health, their livelihood. So many people that
in a way they're also breaching the constitution, because I understand markets and sanitation are supposed to be handled by the local government. So it's not. This is supposed to be an AMAC thing.
Right. So, many also called on AMAC. As a matter of fact, some of them said they pay revenues, they pay taxes severally. So how come, where are the monies they're paying? Where are they going into? How come nobody is coming to take care of this? And you also heard in the report when some persons complain that even when they want to come and evacuate it, they just come and set up fire in this waste, which is also compounding the problem, leading to air pollution, environmental pollution. Because when you have to burn this refuse in the same spot where people are selling their goods, their market, I think it's just a bad thing, in the bad situation all over again.
So what would you, if you were going to advise the people, what would you advise them to do? Seeing that government's not hearing them, what would you advise them to do? I'm putting you on the spot.
Right. Well, I would suggest that government should just do right by the people, whoever are the contractors that have to do this, whether the contracts have been awarded or not, although we've heard from the minister's point of view, even his media aide, who has said that these contracts have been awarded, and then when anybody sees this waste yet to be evacuated, they should make a video and send a certain number. But then when people do this, how come nobody still attends to it? Even some residents mentioned that even during this campaign, some persons that are campaigning for the next FCTA elections, you see them passing through, they've seen, even some of them were hesitant to speak with us. They're like, these issues are over and over again. It's as if nobody is attending to them. It just boils down to the government to, address these issues and nip it in the bud.
Thank you so much. Aisha Saliu was in Orozo and joined us here to talk to us some more about that. Thank you again. Thank you. Well, we will take a dash into the Oval Office, where President Donald Trump has just signed his latest executive order in the Oval Office. This Thursday, he signed executive order aimed at combating drug addiction and substance abuse, dubbing it the Great American Recovery Initiative. We'll go over to the Oval Office now.
She raised, and I'll work with her like I work with everyone else, but she came into Virginia, raised everything to a point like taxes that nobody ever even heard of before. And I don't understand. How do people get elected with this kind of philosophy? This is only in the very modern age. I grew up and I've always heard politicians will cut taxes, will cut. Everybody screaming, we're going to cut taxes. I cut taxes. I gave you the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, in the great, big, beautiful bill. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. Interest deductions, Roger, when somebody buys a car, they can deduct the interest if they borrow money. That's the biggest thing in terms of the car business, right?
American-made ones.
Correct. So we have, I give tax cuts and they give tax increases. I don't know how they get elected. They get elected because they cheat. You want to know the truth? If they didn't cheat, they'd have no chance. They have horrible policy, transgender for everyone. They have the little thing about open borders so that the world's prison population and mental hospitals can be emptied into our country. It's just a crazy. Men playing in women's sports. Roger, are you a fan of men playing in women's sports? Only as a bettor. You'd like to bet. You're not a big fan. I don't think so. I don't want to get him in trouble, but I think he joins in 99% of. They say it's an 80-20 issue. I think it's maybe 99. It's 99-1.
Mr. President, why are you suing this administration and the IRS? Why are you suing?
Who are you with?
I'm with ABC News.
You're a loud person. Very loud. Let somebody else have a chance.
Can you answer the question? Why are you suing IRS?
ABC fake news.
You're suing.
Go ahead. I didn't call on you. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Yeah.
Do you think the upcoming talks?
ABC, by the way, is truly one of the worst. Go ahead.
Do you think the upcoming talks between Russia and Ukraine stand a chance without U.S. envoy Witkoff and Jared Kushner there?
I think they stand a chance. We've been trying. I've ended 8 wars. All of them I thought were going to be maybe tougher than this one. But Zelensky and Putin hate each other, and it makes it very difficult. But I think we're getting very close to getting a settlement. Hundreds of thousands of people, mostly soldiers, have been killed. Last week, they lost 29,000 people. Last month, they lost 29,000 soldiers. Can you believe that, fellas? 29,000. You lose one race driver, and it's a big deal. 29,000 soldiers in 1 month. 27,000 the month before. I think that Yeah, I think that we have a good chance of getting it settled. Yeah, ma'am. Please.
Mr. President, on the Warsh nomination, what is your strategy for getting past the hold that Senator Tillis has on this process? He said he won't allow.
Well, that's that.
President Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, speaking after signing his latest executive order to curb substance and drug abuse in America. But let's talk about health and food and nutrition and drugs. Nestle Nigeria paid a courtesy visit to News Central Television to explore possible areas of partnership and collaboration. The visit focused on understanding the News Central editorial vision and its commitment to fearless reporting. Our correspondent Bernard Akede reports.
As News Central moves to further cement its place as one of Africa's most trusted news stations, partnering with companies and organizations that share similar goals and visions has become paramount, and one of such companies is Nestle Nigeria. And as part of ongoing conversations on potential partnerships and brand collaboration, a team from Nestle Nigeria visited News Central Television and took a tour of the station, giving the Nestle team insight into News Central's newsroom, operations, and production.
A basic concept or a strategy that Nestle has always implemented is what we call the creating share value. And we fundamentally believe that we can create value that is shared among the business, among our employees, among the communities we operate.
Representatives from News Central's diverse team were also present, outlining the network's mission. They also emphasized depth in investigative journalism and pursuit of credible reporting.
We are all about impacting our society. And that's why another thing that differentiates us is our town hall meetings. I was telling Victoria about our town hall meetings. In our town hall meetings, we go to locations where there are issues. Plateau State, where there was a massacre in Plateau State. And we go in the middle of everything that is happening and see how we can bring stakeholders together to discuss. We bring the community, we bring the Nigerian police, the military, whichever security agency is concerned, we bring them together and see how we can provide solutions.
The Nestle team raised questions about how News Central maintains its vision on fearless reporting, as well as how the station recruits reporters who uphold that vision.
So one of the ways we do it is to get young people that are really passionate and energetic and ready to do the work fresh. Because when you get them fresh, you can mold them the way you want to mold them. When you're poaching people from other organizations, it's always a struggle because it's a change in culture.
News Central's audience reach, viewer coverage, digital presence, and specific demographics were also part of the topics discussed by both teams.
We are very focused on the Africa First narrative because we were founded on the premises of our stories not being told, not just by us, but not being told subliminally. We tell the story of Europe, we tell stories all over the world, but we need to be able to fit in the shoes of the average African and say, here's how this story needs to be told. So our demographic cuts across that narrative.
The meeting was open and highly interactive, with both sides expressing interests in exploring future collaborations that align with their values and long-term goals. In Lagos for News Central, Bernard Akede.
The federal and state governments have been tasked to ensure the timely release of funds earmarked for the support of farmers in their agricultural budgets so as to boost food security. This was during a learning meeting of the scale-up of public investment in agricultural projects, which held in Abuja. Participants there said they must be taught to view agriculture as a business that can be invested in and expected to yield returns. Our correspondent Sumaya Abubakar reports.
The project is known as the Scaling Up of Public Investment in Agriculture, aimed at giving a voice to smallholder farmers across Africa. It also aims at helping them understand policies and program implementation in terms of public investment in agriculture, helping shape how agriculture should be seen via a business enterprise lens, with a focus of ensuring private sector investment that comes with expected rewards.
The project was focused on increasing and improving the quality of public financing for agriculture that benefit smallholder women farmers in terms of supporting their well-being to be able to access government services in the agriculture sector.
So, but this project has really, helped shape how agriculture is seen. You listen to the women, telling you that with this project, their voices have been built, their voices have amplified, their capacities has been built. They are more confident that agriculture is no longer something they do just to pass on or to pass by, but is a business where they're able to invest and also get rewards.
While some in attendance rolled out notable takeaways from the meeting, smallholder women farmers in attendance used the opportunity to call on government to ensure the timely release of proposed funds from their agriculture budget so as to support farmers nationwide.
We learned how to effectively engage government together with the farmers. We learned how to be able to position ourselves. The farmers also learned how to be able to position themselves and how to be able to push for their own issues in terms of budget line items that support their livelihood.
Make government release budget in time, because without releasing budget in time, we cannot know how to plan for our production. Because the releasing budget, at least, if it is not that they will even release the budget, it will be better for us, we farmers, because maybe March, April, rain will start. Then you know where you head to. But towards ending of the year, before they will release the budget, then what are you going to do with the budget?
They also urge on government at both the state and the federal level to prioritize the needs of smallholder women farmers so as to boost food security. In Abuja, for News Central, Sumaya Abubakar.
We'll take another break, and when we return, we'll be going across Nigeria into the rest of Africa. Do stay with us. South Africa has expelled Israel's senior diplomat in the country, declaring the Sharjah affair persona non grata and giving him 72 hours to leave. Officials said the envoy used official platforms to criticize President Cyril Ramaphosa and facilitated visits by Israeli officials without approval. The government described the conduct as an abuse of diplomatic privileges under international conventions. The move comes amid strained relations after South Africa filed a case at the International Court of Justice accusing Israel of genocide in Gaza. Israel has, however, rejected the allegation and currently has no ambassador posted in Pretoria. An Abidjan court has sentenced a Malian legislator, Mamadou Gassama, to 3 years in prison for insulting Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara. Mamadou, a member of the junta-ruled Mali's transitional parliament, referred to the long-standing Ivorian leader as an enemy of Mali during an interview with Malian media in September 2022. The convicted lawmaker was arrested in July after entering Ivory Coast and later charged with insulting a head of state and spreading offensive content online. Judicial authorities said the judgment reflects existing laws on public order and respect for state institutions. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan has urged Washington to resist Israeli pressure for a military strike on Iran. He warned that such actions could cause great harm to the region. Speaking in Istanbul on Friday, Fidan noted that Israel is actively trying to persuade the U.S. to attack. He hopes the U.S. administration chooses common sense over escalation. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi joined Fidan, stressing that Tehran is ready for fair nuclear talks. However, he stated that Iran will never negotiate under military threat. Turkey continues to offer mediation between Washington and Tehran to prevent conflict. Fidan believes resolving files incrementally, starting with the nuclear deal, is the best path forward.
İsrail'in ABD'yi İran askeri saldırı yapmaya ikna etmeye çalıştığını da görmekteyiz. İsrail'in bu çabaları bölgemizin kırılgan durumdaki istikrarına büyük zarar verme potansiyeli taşımaktadır. ABD yönetiminin sağduyuyla hareket ederek buna fırsat vermeyeceğini ümit ediyoruz. İsrail bölgedeki istikrar.
At the southern tip of Manhattan, crews are working to remove snow after a major storm hit New York City over the weekend. Excavators were seen dumping large quantities of snow into a steaming trailer where it is being melted to speed up the clearing process and reopen streets for traffic. City authorities deployed heavy machinery across Manhattan, focusing on main roads, sidewalks, and public spaces to minimize disruption. The operation is part of a broader effort to restore normalcy, ensuring that emergency services, commuters, and businesses can resume operations safely. Melting the snow on site allows trucks to carry less weight, making the process more efficient. Thousands of supporters gathered in the city of Heredia as right-wing candidate Laura Fernandez held her final campaign rally ahead of the February 1 general election. The streets and public squares were filled with people, creating a lively atmosphere as the candidate presented her policy agenda and plans for the country. The rally marked the end of an intensive campaign period, with Fernandez focusing on issues such as economic growth, public security, and social development. Authorities were present to manage the large crowd and ensure safety, while traffic disruptions were reported in several areas due to the turnout. Observers noted that the massive attendance highlighted Fernandez's strong support base, reflecting heightened public interest and anticipation ahead of the national vote.
Yo estoy lista. Estoy lista para dar alma, corazón, todo mi empeño, todo mi trabajo y hasta mi vida si fuera necesario por este país. Les pido el voto, no porque esto sea una vanidad de Laura. Les pido el voto porque yo nací para servir a Costa Rica. Por eso este domingo 1 de febrero, será un día maravilloso.
Domestic borrowing in Nigeria has increased in 2025, deepening concerns over the crowding out of private sector credit. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria data, credit to the federal government rose by 9.19 trillion naira during the year, while private sector credit contracted by 1.54 trillion naira, reflecting tight monetary conditions and elevated interest rates. Analysts say banks increasingly preferred low-risk, high-yield government securities over lending to businesses, worsening funding constraints for manufacturers and other productive sectors. Economists warn that the imbalance could weaken investment, job creation, and growth, calling for lower interest rates, reduced government borrowing, and stronger revenue mobilization to restore credit balance. South African rand weakened in the early trade on Friday as a stronger US dollar and global risk factors weighed on the currency, with investors awaiting key local economic data. The rand traded at 15.90 to the dollar, about 1% weaker than the previous session. The dollar gained 0.4% against a basket of currencies, while gold prices fell sharply, pressuring export-linked currencies. The greenback was also supported by a U.S. budget deal that eased shutdown concerns. Meanwhile, data showed mixed domestic indicators with slower money supply growth but stronger private sector credit expansion. Government bonds weakened, pushing yields higher. That's it on the 6th edition for today and indeed this week, but here's a recap of our major stories. We told you that the appeal court has upheld death sentences for 5 convicts involved in the bank robbery in Offa local government area of Kwara State. We also told you that the Federal High Court has nullified the PDP November 25 National Convention held in Ibadan. And South Africa has expelled Israeli diplomat amid strained bilateral relations. Let's hear from you. Send your reports to the WhatsApp number showing on your screen. You can also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV, where you can also watch us live on all social media platforms, plus DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, StarTimes, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you again on Monday.